Welcome in, everybody. We are here for another transformational conversation here on the Global Leaders Roundtable. And I'm super excited for you to be here. Listen, I'm your host, Kenyon R. Dudley, keynote speaker, global leadership strategist, as well as the founder of this growing and global leadership movement and platform where we don't just talk leadership, we actually live it from the inside out. Super excited for you to be joining today. We're going to have a great conversation, as we always do, with the guests that come to this platform and the virtual roundtable. For those of you who are just meeting me for the first time, welcome. Thank you so much for joining in to the ecosystem that we are growing. It is my pleasure to have you here. Listen, my number one life's goal and mission is to say something that transforms someone's thinking and their life, and to hopefully help them transcend beyond boundaries and borders and barriers that are keeping them stuck where they are, and hopefully they will actualize and realize um, the totality of the leader and person that they are in Christ, in God. And we talk about many things here on this platform because these conversations not only are edifying and high level, but I believe that they are elevating to those who are watching and those that are listening in. And so that's what this platform is all about. Thank you so much for joining in. If you are currently watching us on YouTube, thank you for being over there in our community. Make sure that you tag, like, and share this particular conversation. But most of all, make sure that you subscribe to the channel at TGLR Network, because what's coming up, as far as content, is going to be some most creative and impactful content that you do not want to miss. Before we step over into today's conversation with my special guest, got a quick announcement. For those of you who've been following, you already know what's going up in September. But those of you who are watching for the first time or you have not heard yet, we currently have the Global Leaders Virtual Summit happening September the 20th through the 21st. It's going to be on the topic of global kingdom leadership. And listen, we've got individuals from South Africa and Australia, London and Germany, Canada, and all over the United States and elsewhere, who will be coming in as leaders in their industries. And they're going to be sharing their big idea, their leadership strategies, their revelation that God has given them to be impactful and successful in their area of influence. I promise you guys, you do not want to miss this moment. Go ahead and go to bit.ly/TGLR Virtual Summit now. You'll find all information there on how you can get a ticket to the actual summit. And if you want to be a speaker, time is running out. We're almost at the close date of receiving speakers, but you still can. While you see this, there is still about, I think, 2 weeks for you to become a speaker. So you can go to that website as well and apply to be a speaker. Listen, today's conversation, like I said, is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Today's guest is a seasoned leader. He's an international coach and powerful communicator whose message is rooted in authenticity, personal growth, and team empowerment. Alejandro Jorge Tornato has coached leaders across cultures, industries, and continents, helping them align their heart with their habits and their vision with values. He believes that real leadership starts on the inside and expands outward through intentional growth, clarity of purpose, and the right people in your corner. He's here today to help us understand how to lead from within and how to build the kind of teams that multiply the vision that you have. Let's welcome to the Global Leaders Roundtable, the inspiring and impactful Mr. Alejandro. How are you, sir?
Hey, Kenyon, so good to see you. We have communicated
Yes.
via email and text, but it's great to put words on paper into actual an image, and we
Yes.
see one another and we can interact. And I'm so happy, and it's a privilege. I mean, to be at the Global Leaders Roundtable podcast, and not only that, but to be, God willing, one of the speakers
Yes.
at the upcoming summit,
Yes.
Leaders Summit. And for those of you, I mean, I'm just going to piggyback and repeat what Kenyon said. I mean, if you have not, whether you want to be a speaker,
Hmm.
and we would love, I mean, to have you and hear what you have to say.
Yes.
But if you want to just be a participant and grow together with us, I mean, that's an open invitation to
Yes.
everyone. So come and join us. And let me just say right at the outset that when I was listening to your introduction,
Yes.
and you said that you wanted people, I mean, whoever is going to be listening, I mean, to this podcast when it gets published, um, that you want at least someone to be transformed, not
Yes.
only in his or her life,
Right.
but in his or her thinking.
Exactly.
And that caught my attention because, you know, one of the things, I mean, the Apostle Paul, I mean, said the famous words, I mean, be transformed by what? Not by the renewing of your physique and body
Right.
and life. No, be renewed by your thinking.
You're thinking.
Your
Yes.
thinking. Everything starts with your thoughts. Your life can be a good, beautiful, expanding life if your thoughts, if your thinking is good, wonderful, beautiful,
That's
and
right.
expanding. Because if your thoughts, if you are a very limited person in your thinking, that is going to be transferred into your life.
Oh, yes.
Limiting thinking has a limiting life.
Yes.
But God created us to be full in how we express ourselves. And in order to do that, we have to have, uh, I would say, a limitless thinking,
Yes.
limitless thoughts. So I really appreciate, I mean, what you said, Kenyon.
I really appreciate that you caught that and received that because it is so true. I really believe that that is part of my mission and vision and purpose here on earth. And so I always seek to be in the face of God, and to be in his presence to hear what he's saying because I know those transformative words and those things that's going to help people transcend
Yeah,
beyond limitations within their mind and heart is only going to come from the Spirit of God,
yeah,
and it's only going to come from the presence of God. And so, thank you for realizing those words are more than just words that I say.
yeah.
It really is a mission.
That's right.
Um, and speaking about mission, you have a pretty deep and impactful, valuable mission as well. Why don't you officially introduce yourself to people? What part of the world are you in, and what is it that God has you doing right now um, in your sphere of influence?
Well, I am currently in the United States. I am in Georgia.
Okay, awesome.
I have lived in several states,
Okay,
but I think that of all the places that I have been, and I had the privilege of living, I think that Georgia it's a great place.
yeah,
Good weather, at least. I mean, we don't have to shovel snow in the winter,
right. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah,
which is a big plus. But I think that beyond that, you know, one of the things that it has been, and when I think about it and keep rethinking about it, I get even more surprised. And it's the fact that, you know, how God directs our pathways
Yeah.
and moves. I mean, life is a big jigsaw puzzle,
Hmm.
and God has the power to move the pieces as He pleases. I mean,
Yeah.
and obviously, I mean, for our benefit and for our good. I mean, because I've said it. I've said it in so many sermons and teachings that I have done. Um, we can see very uh, unclear, and when we see a picture, we just see perhaps the corners of that picture. But
Mm.
there's one who can see the whole picture, and
Yeah.
God can see from the beginning until the end,
Yeah.
going through the whole life. And God brought me here, I mean, to Georgia,
Hmm.
um, and because he had plans, and we are supposed to be growing
Right.
and being impactful and
Hmm.
being influential, not in the places that we want, but
Hmm.
where God has planted us. And God, I mean, at this time, and I don't know for how long, but at least for the foreseeable future, God has planted me here. And then I have to be fruitful and impactful and influential in this place. And,
Yeah.
and I'm all about personal growth and personal development. Because, Kenyon, I said it so many times, we can grow in at least two ways.
Okay.
We can grow biologically. I mean, we are not born adults. I mean, we are
Right.
born babies, and then there's a process of growth, a biological process of growth, that whether you complain about it is going to happen, whether you like it or
Right.
not. Okay. um, but there is one process of growing that is optional. Is
Okay.
It's up to each individual to realize that we need to grow, that it is a necessity to grow, not just for ourselves, but for others, and is personal growth and
Mm.
personal development.
Hmm.
You see, I mean, it's very sad sometimes, I mean, to meet people who are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, and you see that their bodies demonstrate their biological age, but mentally and thinking they were still as a baby.
Mm. Wow.
And how sad it is that you get to a position in your life and you're still acting so immature
Yeah.
as a toddler. You
Mm.
see, God wants us to grow. God wants to give us resources and all the means at our disposal to grow. But God is not going to grow us. I mean, He's going to provide the means, but it's up to us whether we want to engage in a life of consistent growth.
Yes.
And there's one thing that, just before I turn it on to you, there's one thing that I want to make absolutely clear for the audience, and is we need to grow. It's a necessity to grow,
Hmm.
because if we want to make a difference in the world, if we want to make a difference in other people's lives, if we are empty, we cannot give anything out. We
Right.
have we have to fill ourselves up before we can start giving to others.
Right.
So we cannot give to others what we don't have ourselves. And
Yeah.
that is part of our daily, consistent growth. Okay, there has to be that every single day, and we have to be mindful that we need to avail ourselves of every resource at our disposal to keep growing and to keep getting better. You see, today I want to be at least 1% better than the Alejandro that was yesterday.
Hmm.
And so that is the idea that I want, and I have been putting myself to that so I can inspire and motivate other people to do the same.
I think what you're saying is very valuable information, but also a revelation that we have to live with and live by each and every day. What I immediately thought about as you were talking about, individuals, and you could look at their biology and see that they have grown into an adult. However, when you hear them speak or when you see them or hear them think,
That's right.
you realize immediately that they haven't grown past the teenage years or
That's
a child in the mind.
that's right.
And what we call that in psychology, I've been able to marry ministry and psychology with entertainment. Interesting world for me. But what we call that in psychology is arrested development. And
That's right.
so I've seen, as I'm sure you have too, in the work that you've done and still do, so many people suffering from arrested development,
Yeah.
and being stuck at the place of trauma or being stuck at the place of early age where they just did not get the proper tools and resources for whatever reason. Maybe they refused them, or maybe it just was never
Sure.
offered to them, but they didn't get the proper tools to maturate. The way that God ordained for his creation to maturate and germinate and grow.
That's right.
Talk to me about what are some of those things, both spiritually and naturally, that are resources that people can begin to take advantage of in order to personally grow from within,
Yeah.
so that they can begin to see that on the outward part as well?
Yes, definitely. That's a great question. But before I dive into that question, I want to say that that arrested development that we
Hmm.
talked about and that you talked about
Hmm.
um, uh, gets demonstrated in the fact that we can see that we're living in a world right now
Hmm.
where m- most people, they cannot keep a relationship going.
All right.
Why is it?
Yeah.
Is because they don't have the skills. They have not learned the skills in order to develop and fertilize
Yeah.
relationships to the point that you can say, wow, this relationship is really a successful relationship,
Right.
something that God wants us to have. Not only, I mean, I'm not talking about relationships only in the sphere of husbands and wives, but I'm talking about relationships between friends,
Yes.
relationships, social relationships. So many people feel awkward in social relationships because
Hmm.
they don't know how to start a conversation. They don't
Right.
know how to keep a conversation going. They don't know how to interact with others. You see them, I mean, people who are addicted to their phones and and they communicate via text. They don't know how to communicate verbally.
Right.
And you see them, and you see young people coming out of high schools and colleges that they don't even know how to keep a job because
Mm.
they don't know how to interact with their bosses.
Right.
And we are living in a world of entitlement, the entitled mentality, the victim mentality.
Yes.
We have to change from a victim mentality to a hero mentality. We
I
need to
love that.
be heroes, not victims, and uh, take responsibility for our own actions, our own
Yeah.
thinking. But as one of my mentors used to say, um, uh, good thinking is very rare these days.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
people
is.
people don't take the time to think.
Hmm.
Thinking is something that is not done in the way that it should be done. and you can see all the problems that people are experiencing
Yeah.
because of those factors. But coming back to the question, what are some of the resources that we can employ? Well, the first one, and just because I am an avid reader, I think is um, getting into the habit of reading. Getting
Yes.
into the habit,
Okay.
and now I'm not talking about reading like, and I'm not against about this, but not just reading the Harry Potters. I mean
Right.
the science fictions. I mean,
Right.
but reading books like biographies of people of the past, reading things that are going to feed our minds, our souls, our hearts,
Yes.
that are going to help us be better. So, reading, writing, journaling, getting into the habit of journaling every single day,
Hmm.
having not only a journal, but having a gratitude journal.
Hmm.
What are we grateful for? And and I tell you, it was funny because a while ago I was having a conversation with someone, and he says, "Well, what are you grateful for?" And the person just looked at me, and and he thought for quite some time. Says, and I said to him, why do you have to think so hard about what things you're grateful for? I mean, there are billion things that you could be grateful for. You could be
Right.
grateful that you have life, that
Right.
that you can breathe one more day, that you have health, that you have a plate of food to eat. Perhaps if you drink coffee, you can be grateful for the cup of coffee you had this morning.
Right. But I think so many people with those types of things, Alejandro, they think that those things are small,
That's
right?
right.
And so when you ask someone, what are you grateful for? They don't go to the breath and to the life and to the health and the strength and
That's
because it's things that's kind of intangible in their
that's right.
world. And so
Yeah,
they don't think that it's impactful and valuable. But it indeed is. I mean, you go ask a body that doesn't have breath of life being breathed in it today,
that's right.
would it like some breath in order to live? That's most impactful.
That's
And I
right.
think,
Or would you? I mean, would you go to a hospital and
yeah,
ask someone who is perhaps on their deathbed,
right.
would you like more health? I
Yeah,
mean, what would their answer be? I
of
mean,
course.
that's right. So yes, it's so reading. Uh, the other thing is um, relationship. Who you spend most of your time with. You
Hmm.
see, I remember Jim Rohn, one of the great motivational speakers who is no longer with us. I mean, used to say, we are the average of the four people that we spend most of our time with.
Mm,
So think about it. Who do you spend time with? If you spend time with negative people, what do you think that you are going to be? There's going to be a contagion effect on you,
right,
and you will soon start having negative thinking, negative thoughts. I mean, spend time with people who are at a higher level than you,
right,
and they'll bring you up to their level. They elevate you, they renew you. So that's also, so relationships matter, reading matter, journaling, writing matter. Those are primary
right.
things that you need to do. Working,
Yeah,
having a mentor, having a coach that could provide guidance, that could provide direction. Uh, um, I tell you, if you are a believer, um, spend time on the Word of God. I
Oh, yeah.
mean, read, I tell you, I'm going right now, I mean, through Proverbs. I mean, reading one proverb every single day. Read Proverbs. You want to grow in wisdom? Well, the book of Proverbs is there is nothing better than that because it talks about what wisdom is and how to obtain it and how to get it. And so there's an infinite amount of resources that God, being in touch with nature, so much we can learn from nature. I remember that I got surprised the very first time that I heard it. It says, somebody asked me, that was a few years ago, Alejandro, are you taking nature baths?
Mm.
And I said, what is that? He
Right.
said, I mean, just go to nature. It's not that you're going to go to nature and take all your clothes off and so.
Right.
No, 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 no. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about being in nature. Just go to a place where there's greenery. But I used to live in Salt Lake City, Utah,
Okay.
for a few years.
My college
And
was there.
if you don't know about Salt Lake, it's like a valley, and you can look 360 degrees around you,
Yeah.
and you're surrounded by majestic
Hmm.
mountains.
Hmm.
It's absolutely, I
Beautiful.
mean, fantastic. I mean, you can feel the power in
Right.
there. And so you can just go to one of the canyons in there and start going on trails and going for beautiful hikes, and you can see the chirping of the birds, and you can see the little streaks of water running down, and that bathing in nature
Right.
makes you more understanding of how small we are compared to the grand scheme of what God has created.
Right.
And that connection with nature helps you to grow as a human being because it helps you to think clearly. You're not in the busy of everyday life in the city. I mean, you're just by yourself, and you can take a book with you and a notebook, and you can read, and you can journal your thoughts, and you can write your ideas, your plans, the projects that you want to accomplish. I mean, it's you know what I would call it, Kenyon? I would call it detoxification
Yeah.
for yourself,
I
for
agree.
your mind, for your body, for your spirit. Is a complete detox process. I mean, just spend time in nature. So those are few of the things that we have available to us, that would help us not only to live better lives, but to keep maturing, growing, developing, because from the moment that we're born, we start to die. I mean, I know that that's not something that we want to hear, but it's a reality.
Hmm.
And so life is that process, and we need to live that process to the fullest of the potential that God created us to be.
Right.
We have to go to our grave empty
I agree.
because we have left everything behind. That's
Yeah.
that's the idea.
I agree with this so much. One of my, rituals, if you will, or the things that I do each day, um, you know, is go and we have a lake out in the neighborhood. And so literally walk around this entire lake and get an opportunity to watch the birds and the egrets and the herons, those beautiful, majestic birds flying over the lake when the
Yeah.
sun is coming up, and watching them, fly over the waterfall and things like that, and just in their own element. And sometimes when you get out of your natural element, which is your home or your office or what have you, and you go over into nature, and see these animals in their own element, you automatically open yourself up for revelation as well.
Hmm.
Revelation from God, on just how things really are and what life really is all about.
Yeah.
Um, but doing these things that you talk about not only help you become a better you for your own purposes and the purposes that God has for you in your personal life, but it also helps you become a better you for the teams that you're a
Yeah.
part of and the organizations that you represent and the people that you lead. Talk about the impact of personal growth positioning you to be better for those that you work with and that follow you.
Um, I mean, it changes radically
Yeah.
because um, you come with a different perspective.
Hmm.
Whether you are leading a team, okay, you don't come to that team as a dictator.
Right. Right.
and and if you were to ask me why some teams do not perform or do not have the success that they should have, is because of poor leadership.
I agree.
Is the fact that whoever is leading that team is, first of all, not giving the example. um, is not I mean, when you become when it's not when you become a leader. I think that I should have started this conversation by saying that um, in answering the famous question that I hear so much around, and is, are leaders born or made?
Hmm. Hmm.
Are leaders born or made? And my answer is both, because I have never seen a leader who hasn't been born yet. I mean,
Right.
you have to be born to be a leader, but we are born leaders. I
I agree.
mean, we have in our nature, um, we we are leading. Whether you are leading a team, at least you are always leading one person, and that person is you.
Right.
You are your own leader. And if you cannot manage yourself, and so many people, they cannot even manage themselves. I mean,
Right.
now, how on earth are they going to be able to manage other people and a team and a group of people? So, first of all, that's why the conversation and the title is so appropriate. Is everything starts not on the outside going in, but it starts from the inside going out.
Right.
Okay, and so everything starts with us as people. So when you come into a leadership position, most people, they think that, and they associate leadership and leaders with a title.
Right.
Oh, they nominated me for director of operations, so I am a leader, so watch out.
Right.
You see, that's not the attitude. If you want to have a long, a prosperous career in leadership, that's not a good starting point.
Right.
Watch out, because now I have the power.
Right.
No, no, no. And I don't know if you are going to ask me a question that I know, and is about servant leadership.
Yes. Let's go there.
Let's now. I think it's a good moment. Let's talk about servant leadership,
Hmm.
because what is servant leadership? Servant leadership is not what is it, what's in it for me. The
Right.
question: if I am in a leadership position, what are the benefits that I am going to receive? No, servant leadership is, I am one in the whole group. What can I do to make the group successful and to make the group moving forward? How can I serve? You see, when we look at leadership, we have to look at the leader of leaders, the leader for all time. And who was that? The second person of the Trinity, Jesus Christ.
Hmm.
He was the leader. And in the pages of the scriptures, we can see how he acted as a leader. And if we want to be leaders and servant leaders, we just have to turn our eyes and see how Jesus acted as a leader. How was his communication? How did he relate to the disciples and to other people who sometimes we could say, how could he eat with those kinds of people? I
Right.
mean, prostitutes and liars and cheaters and I mean, but that's the place. And as leaders, we have to think. We need to relate to others, not from a bossy dictatorship position, looking down and say, I am higher, bigger, and better than all of you,
Right.
but I am your equal. I am your equal. We need, if this team is going to succeed, all of us, we need to do the work. We need to get our hands dirty, and we need to help one another uh, to push the cart forward.
I
I
agree.
mean, that's the attitude. You don't come to a team saying, I come here to to be served by the members of the team. No, I came here to serve all of you.
Right.
And so that's one of the things that we need to do, and who, in my opinion, is lacking globally these days. I mean, leaders, they want they want to become leaders because they want to get the perks
Yeah.
of leadership. They don't want to give of themselves to help, and in the process of betterment, other people that are under them.
Yeah. They want to be served rather than serve. And I have
Exactly.
found and learned that the minute you come in and you serve from a whole place,
Uh-huh.
from a healed place, from a healthy place, um, that's the minute that you have created a strong team, a team that could thrive and grow,
That's right.
um, and move forward and advance. As we land this conversation, what would be the number one thing that you would tell an arena full of leaders? Let's say it's 100,000 leaders in the arena, and they have called Alejandro to the stage to share one thing with them that's going to transform them and help them transcend. What's that one thing that you believe God wants you to share with those leaders?
The very first thing that comes to mind is, first of all, do not expect perfection. Do not expect perfection, because I have not yet met a perfect leader.
Yeah.
Here on earth, I haven't met a perfect leader. Leaders, we make mistakes.
Yeah.
So don't expect perfection. Number one, exercise humility.
Yes.
Exercise humility, not an inordinate ego. No, ego doesn't come into the equation of great leadership.
Hmm.
Leave the ego outside. Um, B, number three, take responsibility for your actions.
Yes.
Not only take responsibility for the things that go well, but also do the buck stops here and really here with you, because you, as a leader, you need to take responsibility for the things that go wrong. I mean, don't play the blame game. Oh well, it was so and so. It was because the company happened, something happened with the company that resulted in that. Or the, and you just start to divert the blame into everybody else or everything else apart from you. No, you are it. You, as the leader, you take responsibilities, because by doing that, you know what happens, Kenyon? Those 100,000 people who listen, you are going to develop trust.
Right.
And that's what leaders do. They need, in order for the leader to be successful, you need to develop trust with people. People have to trust you.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't trust leaders who only tell them what they should do, but they do not show them
Yeah.
how it is done. You see, that's that's one of the key things. Um, don't come to me telling me what to do. Show me
Right.
how it is done. You see, actions, words are very important, but words without action, they are an empty void. They are
Mm.
an empty void. So words are good, followed by good and an appropriate action.
Yeah.
That's what true leadership, in my opinion, is all about.
Powerful, powerful, powerful reminder to us in this time. I think it is necessary that we talk about what leadership really is, what it looks like, and where it comes from. Thank you so much for spending some time with me and talking about this. How can people connect with you and work with you?
Well, they can reach me on Facebook. Okay, I mean, if they type my name, I mean, I should show up.
Yeah.
The same in LinkedIn. I mean, my profile there. I mean, they can connect with me there as well. So through social media, that's the best way. I mean, to get in touch with me, and so we can have an exploratory conversation and see what would be the best and most effective way that I can help. I mean, if there is, I know that you are a public speaker too, me too, and so if there is a group that you would like, I mean, someone to come and inspire, motivate. I mean, take it to the next level, then by all means, I mean, I'm available. I mean, to do that. Sure.
Absolutely. Guys, connect with Alejandro Tornado. Listen, this has been a great conversation. Alejandro, hang tight. Thank you so much for being with us. We're going to wrap things up here.
Definitely.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another impactful conversation that I believe was necessary for you to listen in on. I thank Alejandro so much for reminding us that real leadership starts in the unseen places, in our mindset. It starts in our maturity and in the way we relate to people around us. So, to every leader watching right now, personal growth isn't selfish. Remember that it is strategic. And trusting the right team doesn't make you weak, it multiplies your strength. And them trusting you by you coming to serve them doesn't make you show up as weak, it makes you show up as a whole leader. If this episode has blessed you, make sure that you stay connected to the ecosystem here at the Global Leaders Roundtable. We've got so much coming up, and we want you to be a part of that virtual summit as well. Go ahead and get ready to get your tickets there. Um, and listen, I just believe that if you do the work, you do the internal work, God will do the rest. You're looking for success, you're looking for effectiveness and all of those things in the work that you do. I promise you, if you do the internal work, everything on the outside would flourish because you will be flourishing on the inside. I'm your host, Kenyon R. Dudley, and this is the Global Leaders Roundtable, where leadership is rooted in identity and multiplied through alignment and lived out in community. Until next time, grow deeper, lead stronger, and build something that outlives you. Have a great one.